This isn't just another podcast. It's a movement, a global wave of women from Nairobi to Nashville, Seoul to Sao Paulo, stepping out of the shadows and into the spotlight. Women who are ready to be seen, to be heard, to be unmuted. I'm Anjuli Marshall, an award-winning ABC and NBC journalist and speaker, turned business strategist, coach, and mom. My mission? To amplify the voices of women who were never meant to stay silent. One woman, one voice, one story at a time. So go ahead, put on your comfy pants, grab a coffee, and maybe the remote. Are you ready to press the button? Unmuted starts right now. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Unmuted. I am your host, Anjuli Marshall, and this is where we amplify the stories of women who have rebuilt, risen, and refused to stay silent. Today's guest is a storyteller at heart and a builder by nature. Whitney Duenas Richardson is the founder of Global Sprouts, a cultural education box for kids that turns playtime into a passport. For her journey to this mission, it was not straight in any way. It was shaped by a traumatic car crash, a sold-out fitness studio, a beautiful chaos of motherhood, and even surviving a hurricane that swallowed her home. Wow. But through it all, Whitney kept choosing to rise. And now she's teaching the next generation to understand, to honor, and to connect across cultures through curiosity and play. So I'm very excited to bring to the stage Whitney Duenas Richardson. Whitney, welcome to the show. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I think I'm probably more excited, but we'll see.
We'll see. Time will tell.
So I can't wait for women everywhere to hear your story. You have such an impactful, a memorable, and an amazing story. But there's a lot of this happening in your story. But look at you now. So let's start at the beginning. Tell me as much as you can, as much as you're comfortable sharing with the audience about your story and how you arrived to where you are right now.
Yeah. Pleasure to be here, and thank you for introducing me. What a lovely introduction, first of all. I am so honored to share my story, a story that has so many ups and so many downs that propels me to move forward in different and huge and making a difference, right? I'm propelling myself to move forward in huge and in different ways. So my story started, I moved to the mainland in 2013. It was my senior year of high school. My parents convinced me that everyone would know who Chamorros were and where Guam was because we were a U.S. territory. Very quickly, I became whipped from Guam within the first 30 days because everyone was fascinated that this girl from Guam is now part of their school and is a peer to them.
Wow.
So I knew finishing out high school in the States and the mainland that the education system spent the last 12 years and didn't teach anyone about a U.S. territory, that the way that they were teaching it wasn't sticking because they were seniors and they were amazed that I was from Guam. And it was less about people not knowing where I was from and more about why aren't we teaching about a U.S. territory that is a huge asset to our U.S. military and the people of the island, right? So I think that was impactful. And you're a senior in high school, you're not thinking, okay, in 10 years from now, I'm going to own a culture box for children because it's a huge stigma it's a huge invalid experience for kids right now to start school and not understand why there's so many different types of people in their class or where are these other people from. And those kids that are from other cultures that have either migrated to the States or are their culture and American now, that they don't get applauded or understood from the beginning when America is this melting pot of different cultures. So I didn't know that at the time, but now I'm looking back and I'm like, okay, that one instance has now propelled me forward.
Wow.
And I got into the University of Oklahoma. I was driving from North Carolina to Oklahoma. My dad said, wait 1 day and I'll drive with you. And I was like, no, I got this. I can do it on my own. I can do it on my own. I know I can do it on my own. However, this one instance, I was driving through Alabama. I hit 50 feet of guardrail, hit an overpass, flipped my car. From the moment of the accident to the time I was put into an ambulance was like an hour and a half. So we were in like rural Alabama. And I'm like, now it's been not 10 years now. It happened in 2016. So almost 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like slowly, the brain is wonderful. Now I'm slowly remembering.
Wow.
And I guess I got in the ambulance, gave the wrong social security number. All these things were like inaccurately reported. And I got to the first hospital. They said, hey, here's a male police officer. Mind you, this was literally 5 days after my 18th birthday. I graduated high school at 16. Fun fact about me.
Cool.
Driving back to Oklahoma, I crashed. And then the male police officer was like, hey, I'm going to take you to a hotel until your parents get here. I came to my senses and was like, this is really weird. Like, I think I need another opinion. I don't feel fine. I can't remember anything still. And mind you, at this point, I didn't really remember these instances probably until like a year and a half ago of like a lot of therapy and understanding how the brain will close off certain instances for you, which is a blessing in disguise.
Sure.
I did struggle with that for a while of not understanding why it happened or how it happened. Did someone run me off the road? What really caused it? Did I fall asleep? I'll never know. And that's fine. And I have come to peace with, I just won't know what happened. But the police officer looked at me and said, you know what? You do need a second opinion. As soon as I got to the University of Alabama, Birmingham, they called my parents and said, she's dying from internal bleeding if we don't operate on her right now. And so immediately went into surgery. I didn't cry that time. That's great. Every time I talk about it, I cry at that moment.
Oh, wow.
They took me into surgery. I have a 12-inch scar from like my rib cage down to my pelvic area. They took everything out of me, did some like dissecting of my bowels and my spleen, put me back together. And then a week and a half later, I woke up from coma. And now I'm living and breathing and beautiful and just love the life that I've created. So I'm so grateful for the police officer that vouched for me. And that is one thing for women and just anyone in general of always get a second opinion and always trust your gut and go with what your body is telling you. I think especially in the medical industry, people go with the first opinion and it's not always the right opinion. So that's my takeaway for that. From there, obviously, after a very traumatic car crash, I had like immune issues, thought I had lupus. I don't think it was lupus, though. I think it's just like your body has just gone through a very traumatic thing. I was very stressed out. I had so much anxiety, and I found a fitness studio that had infrared heat in Norman, Oklahoma. And so I graduated college, moved to Europe for 8 months, and then moved back to the States, got my first full-time job in Virginia. And I think I worked for a small business for maybe 6 months. And I was like, my health feels awful. I miss having a heated studio. I miss being active. There was nothing, there weren't any like boutique fitness studios that I'd been used to.
Yeah.
So I was having like some like brain, like when you have a traumatic brain injury and you have something that's so traumatizing like a car crash, there's like lingering issues moving after that. So I had some like, I don't remember exactly what it was. I don't think I ever got an answer, but I just didn't want to be around light. I wanted to be in like a dark room, and it's kind of like a migraine mini stroke type of symptom situation.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, for 3 days. And on the third day, I remember very clearly, I found a parcel. I signed a lease. I had an idea for a name for a studio. And then the fourth step was, well, I don't know how I'm going to buy any of this stuff. I just graduated college. I have no money. So I called my dad, and my dad was grateful enough to help me fund the first half of opening up the studio. So I launched the studio and loved it. And I reflected, I loved it. This was 2019. COVID happened in 2020. So, of course, no one wants to go to fitness studios. We kind of bended the rules and stayed open until too many people got COVID, and then people really freaked out. So, it was 2021, and no, everyone was still kind of scared of like going to gyms and doing all of that. So we ended up selling for our equipment. No one was going to buy a gym with uncertainty, but everyone wanted fitness equipment, and it was sold out everywhere. So I took that opportunity to sell the equipment for 400% profit and end up not in the red from this new venture I had.
Wow.
And after I closed, I reflected on 4 main takeaways. The first was I've been doing marketing. I had started my own marketing like side hustle when I was 15. So I've been doing marketing for years at this point. I don't want to do that the next time. I want to hire. I don't want to be strapped for cash. I want to be able to hire a team to help support me so I can grow fast. My third one was I did not grow fast enough. I didn't grow at all, minus my first location, which halted the growth. And the fourth one was I loved building a community. I loved walking into a room and knowing 5 people. That filled my cup of tea. I loved the understanding, the acknowledgement, the being able to bridge certain pieces together. Like that made me super happy and excited of being a business owner. And then the last one that came more into fruition when I started Global Sprouts was I don't want to pack a box. I want to pack a few boxes, but after the first 3 months, like it's got to go to a fulfillment center.
Yep.
I don't want to be stuck in the laboring side of it. When I'm the mastermind, I am strategic. I've launched a business before. I know how to be successful.
Yeah.
I know how to make an executive decision of, is this working for me or is it not?
Yeah.
And so those are my like top 5 key takeaways from the first business. So that was fun.
Wow. 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 First of all, have you written a book?
I have not, but you're not the first person to ask. I have right now, we're still in the growth start of Global Sprouts, but once I have my $100 million exit in 10 years, I'll write a book.
Okay. All right. I definitely think you should consider that. And I think you should start writing it now so that when it's time, you just publish.
There you go. That's a really smart idea. Efficiency.
Yeah, efficiency. Yeah. Man, your story. Oh my word, it's so powerful. So, okay, let's go back. Lots and lots of life pivots that you've had to endure, you've had to learn, you've had to grow through. So was the business called Bar of the Bay?
Bar by the Bay.
Bar by the Bay. Okay. And I'm guessing that one of the things you loved most was the fact that you were able to create community for people. Yeah.
Exactly.
Take us through the growth process of that business. Take me through what that looks like. What kind of challenges did you experience? Because it sounds like you just thrust yourself into this and you just like flew by the seat of your pants and you were like, this is going to work.
I believe in myself 1,000%. There is not one person that could come up to me and tell me that it's not going to work. Every time someone tells me it's not going to work, which is how Global Sprouts part of it was kind of created, gives me the fuel to prove people wrong.
Love it.
Because it's up to us to believe in ourselves. And if we don't believe in ourselves, no one else is going to believe. Honestly, fake it till you make it always works. If you believe it, even if you're like telling yourself one thing, you're like constantly, if you're like, I'm beautiful, I feel fit, I feel toned, I am successful, I love my body, like your brain interprets that on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to share a very personal story. And it was it was very challenging for me. when I opened up the studio, it was actually a very learning experience as well, of building out your team. I actually don't think I've shared this with many people yet, so you're special.
Yay.
I built my team out, and there was one lady that I didn't want to hire, but she was like very eager to be a fitness instructor, really wanted to be involved in the community. And I put my gut feeling aside and hired her anyways. What had happened was she had a spray tan business on the side. So to me, I was like, we're going to have this grand opening. I'm going to go get a spray tan and be like this nice bronze CHamoru lady opening up a fitness studio. Well, we open, and then like 6 months later, there's all these news articles about this fitness instructor getting in trouble for child pornography.
Oh God.
And I remember being in the spray tan booth, and I vividly remember the spray tan gun definitely had a camera on the end of it. And she had asked me if she could take photos for like marketing materials. I'm a woman, everyone has boobs and a butt, and it wasn't my front side, it was just the back side. Cool, whatever, I'm fine with that. What I didn't know was that she was sending them to the dark web, and it wasn't just the backside. So she had only showed me the like one backside picture, but there was a plethora of all these naked Whitney images on the dark web.
Whitney, you've got to be kidding me.
Yep. And so I remember going to the PI, like the private investigator's office. And I mean, I have a 12-inch scar. You can't miss me, right? Like, and I have a tattoo from my grandma on my wrist. Like, I have Guam on my side. Like, I have markings that is very apparent. I don't know, there must have been like 30 or 40 pictures. And I reflect on that. And once again, I'm a woman. It's a really crappy thing to do. The person she was with, the criminal justice system fails for certain instances because they couldn't charge for adult pornography against people's like discretion and will, because there was a larger case for the kids. There were so many images of children, which is like absolutely disgusting and detrimental. And so I didn't feel like I got exactly what I needed out of the criminal system or the court system because of that instance. But as long as they're like tucked away for good and whatever happens to them, that's on them, right? Like that's a way they're no longer hopefully going to get out and do the same thing to other victims. And so that was one moment I reflect back on, and I'm like, you know what? I am listening to my gut when I hire people. And if I have to fire people, I'm not thinking 5 times about it. It's not a 3 strikes, you're out. And my morals sometimes get in the way because I'm like, you know what? Does X happen because I didn't give enough direction? Or is X happening because they're not understanding? Or are they not able to fulfill this because I haven't set direct goals and deadlines and KPIs?
Sure.
But in the hiring process, I do hire for a good vibe now. I have to get along with you, whether that's virtual or not.
Yeah.
And that was a good takeaway from that moment. And that was a pivotal moment of I had to not only discover that my naked pictures were sold to people or on the dark web, but I also had to experience what could have been easily a PR nightmare and how to try to avoid that this instructor was teaching at my business. But there's so many different facets that you don't realize as a business owner and as a woman of like this what things happen. I get it. It's the universe, and they wanted to teach me how to go through what could have been a PR nightmare. And I'm grateful for that experience. And so things like that you don't find fun or enjoyable or easy at the time, you can look back and you're like, you know what? That was a great opportunity to teach me how to listen to my gut, how to hire a good team, and what that looks like.
Yeah. The things that you have learned about business and life, just in general, dude, crash course.
Yeah. Seriously.
Wow.
Seriously.
There was something that, I mean, there's so many things about your story that stand out, but one thing is Hurricane Helene swallowed your house whole, essentially, is what That's what I was reading. Um, how do you rebuild from that? How do you rebuild physically? Yes, I understand there has to be a rebuilding, like the brick and mortar, but emotionally, what did that do to you? And how did you overcome?
So this is a great segment into my second business, which is Global Sprouts.
Okay.
And um, the rebuilding of a hurricane, quite literally swallowing your home up 5 feet from the ground, is not an enjoyable experience.
Wow.
Um, it it's a fun journey. You're in fight or flight. I'm not gonna lie. It hit last September, late September, early October, I think, September 23rd.
Hmm.
And then right after Helene, flooded our house 5 feet, and you have to go through your home and salvage what you can, hopefully. Um, and if you have a partner like my husband who's 6'3", all his stuff is up high and all your stuff is down low.
Yeah.
So baby photos, things from my daughter,
Mhm.
um, her bedroom. I think that's the saddest part.
Yeah.
Um, Fun fact is I get a new kitchen out of it, so that's kind of nice. Um, don't get me wrong, insurance doesn't cover a bunch of the stuff, but I wanted to redo the kitchen, so I'm finding the light and positivity in it all.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
your your brain is in fight or flight for at least a solid 6, 7 months. I didn't really snap out of it probably until mid-May this year of, okay, I'm grateful that I'm able to rebuild my home and we're in an apartment right now and I have a roof over my head. There's numerous families that bounce from house to house, and 2 days after we flooded, I said, "No, we're gonna go into downtown, we're gonna get an apartment. We're not gonna bounce from rental to rental. It's gonna take forever because quite literally your entire community is destroyed." Not only from Helene, but then not even a week later, Milton hit, flooded
Oh,
our apartment, flooded in downtown St. Pete. So now you have these 2 layers, and at that moment, I was like, "You know what? I think I'm done with Florida." Like 2
yeah.
hurricanes back with flooding when I'm trying to be in an apartment and, like, be safe, and we flooded, and I don't know if you guys saw, like, the Tropicana, the softball or baseball stadium, like, lost its roof. We evacuated from Milton because we're quite literally right across the street from it, and I was like, "If the roof flies off, it's coming straight into my bedroom window. No way can I stay."
Right.
And so, um out of every bad thing in my life, I built a business out of it. It's beautiful how life works in that capacity. So
Yeah.
my daughter was a year and a half. We went to Virginia to my in-laws for a little bit after the hurricane, and we were there for Thanksgiving. And it was Thanksgiving night. I laid in bed and I was like, I want to teach my kid about the world. And the reason I thought that was my daughter's bilingual, understands everything in Spanish that she does in English. And a woman looked at me and said, "Why would you ever teach your kids Spanish when kids are coming to my classroom in kindergarten and they don't even know English yet?" And I was like, "Well, we clearly need help." And then
Hmm.
the more I talked to people, the more I was like, we have this mindset that the American way is the only way, when the American way is only a way. And
Yeah.
being from an island, like a tiny island, I didn't have TJ Maxx's or Lululemons, or we didn't have a Walmart growing up. Like we
Hmm.
had the beach and we had a Kmart until that closed down, like little mom and pop stores. So it's not like we had access to literally same day Amazon shipping, right?
Right.
And so I laid in bed. I researched. I think I got in bed at like 8 and I researched until 2 a.m. And there was no culture boxes to where I could teach my child about people and not about geography. I can pull up a map and teach my daughter, here's France, here's Paris, here's the Eiffel Tower. But I want her to hear French words. I want her to understand how French kids live their life on a day-to-day basis. What foods do they eat? How do they interact? And how can we incorporate one of those things in our day-to-day life? So we launched Spain for our first box. Hold on, let me get back to the rebuilding and then I'll touch on that. So I think um, having lost everything and then being able to come back to what makes me happy and what makes me excited for the next part of my life. And that truly was establishing something to teach other Americans of my generation that like we're not the only people. Someone made a comment and said, "Why are you doing the Virgin Islands? Isn't there like no culture there?" And there's the Dutch, there's the French, there's the Brit, like the
Wow.
like Englanders, the English. So it's like, oh, clearly this is a need, very much
Yeah,
so. And it's tough for us to teach the next generation if we don't have access to those resources. So we prepare parents' guides in every box so that the parents can also learn about others.
that's
And there's been
great.
a few other comments too that I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, why would you teach your kid Spanish before she's 2? She doesn't understand. We were in Costa Rica in March, and my daughter understood everything, and she
Yeah,
wasn't even 2 yet. So there is a stigma around teaching about others that we have to kind of break down. And it's up to us to raise the next generation to not be assholes, and also for Global Sprouts to provide those resources.
great.
And the way that I knew this was a good idea is my daughter is bilingual, and in the morning she'll come into our bedroom after we created the Spain box, which is our first box we launched back in May. And she'll go, "Hola, mama," and she'll do the little flamenco dance with her scarf. And I'm like, this is it.
I
This
love
is why
that.
we start at 2, because they do remember things. They're starting to grasp concepts. They might not understand exactly flamenco dance Spain, but in her head, she does. She's like, okay, we were talking that Spain's a Spanish speaking culture, and my book talks about it. And her favorite book is an Iranian book that talks all about Iranian culture. And I'm
Mm,
like, this is so cool. We're able to share the world with her, and we're very grateful. We prioritize it as a family to travel the world together at least anywhere from 1 to 4 times a year. So she's been able to travel internationally and
It's great.
really immerse herself. And that's kind of how we build the next generation to be empathetic. And even if it's 1 kid today and 10 kids tomorrow, that 1 kid sharing with their friends, "Oh, I learned about Guam when I was 3, and I remember getting we have a sea turtle plushie that everyone's obsessed with."
Yeah,
So, like little things like that, that it might not seem like it's doing a lot at 2, but seeing the progression of talking about something with children, and then, like, once they're 6 or 7, they're like, "Oh, I remember that," and you're like, "This is it." Like, this is how I remember vividly, um, when I became empathetic, I was 6 years old, and I went to the Philippines. There was a gentleman with no legs on a skateboard in Manila. We went the next day to a suburb, like, probably an hour east of Manila, and I saw the same gentleman, and I will never forget every morning now, I'm like, "I'm so grateful I have 2 working legs." And that's 20 years of telling myself that. And that is how you create empathy, and you become curious about how others live and how their day-to-day life is. And
yeah,
that makes a difference. That makes us go into kindergarten and not wonder why there's different people of different color, of different facial features, of different hair types. We already understand that from a young age,
yeah,
that there's different walks of life. And that's how we come together as a community to celebrate and uh, award one another with our love and just curiosity, and truly understanding why someone might react a certain way that's differently than how we react,
yeah,
or why someone might speak a different way than we do, or like
yeah.
broken English, and like why that's important as well. So that's why we're doing what we're doing with Global Sprouts.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, Global Sprouts is just, I would love for you to tap into it a little bit more, just delve into it. It's such a beautiful blend of curiosity, creativity, and compassion. So where is the brand now? Because when we first hopped on the call, you were like, I've been doing this and I did this morning. Like, I know you're in work mode, you're building. Um, where have you seen it go from um, the point of inception? Where is it now? And where do you want to see it go?
From inception, we were a curated box. So we were getting items from different people that had already kind of done something in the cultural atmosphere and putting them in a box. We had a few intellectual property pieces, but not the whole box. Our first version, which was Spain, we had Lola's Fandango, which is about the flamenco dance. And then our Spain booklet had 12 pages, I believe, in the educational booklet. So you had your crafts, your recipes, your parents' guide, like one language activity, and flashcards.
Mm-hmm.
Now our next month's box is Virgin Islands. And the Virgin Islands, we have started to write our own story. So we have a mascot named Globy, and our mascot travels the world.
Oh, wow.
And if we've been to the country with our daughter, we write it in my daughter's point of view as Globy, so that when she gets old enough, we can gift her something that's her travels around the world. There is everything in the box is Global Sprouts created and owned. And we have our little mascot figurines. And then hopefully in the future, we'll have figurines and like wooden play pieces of what the people of that culture look like. So are they dark skinned? Are they light skinned? Are they both? Do you have a conglomeration of different types of people that live there?
Wow.
Like deeper understanding that way. And our long-term vision is to be the next generation's version of a cultural Dora. So where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? That's going to be Globy in 5 years. That's how we tap into the tech space and tap into kids being able to watch on the go and getting more involved and seeing it through their eyes. And that's the long-term plan. And then in 10 years, have a multi-million-dollar exit, and someone in private equity is going to buy it and give it to all the kids around the world and really grow it.
That's beautiful. I love that you have an exit strategy. That's always a very good sign when you start a business, right? You start with the exit in mind.
That's how we built it, the exit for 10 years. And every year, what's the goal that we have to achieve?
That's so great. As a multicultural woman yourself, what role would you say identity plays in how you lead and how you create?
Yeah. I think being a woman on top of both being CHamoru and Dutch is very powerful. I believe in myself so much that I don't really ever see a difference between being treated like a woman or if I were a man, what would the outcomes have been. I actually don't frequently think about it that often, because if a man passes on my idea, I know there's 20 other people out there that do believe in me. And so that's just the women aspect of it. The cultural piece, I really think that it leads your creativity in a way of I understand multicultures. I've lived it. I eat it every day. I can understand the languages. And by understanding that piece, I understand so many different types of people.
Yeah.
I like whether I was full-blown American like my husband, and I've taught him and we've taught each other so much in the last another 6 years now. In the last 6 years of how to open our eyes to different perspectives and how can we indulge ourselves and immerse ourselves in other cultures. And I think that's pretty powerful. And the thing that we can do as being multicultural women or women of different walks of life is sharing our story and saying, hey, you didn't know about Global Sprouts prior to this conversation, but now you do. And even if you don't have kids 2 through 7, you know someone with 3 people. And that's my favorite thing is we have these different backgrounds, but you know 3 people. And if if you connect me with 3 people and I connect you with 3 people, we're branching out to to a much larger degree than we would have prior to watching this video or never connecting. So I think the connection is the piece of walking from different backgrounds and understanding how people live their day-to-day lives really is what it comes down to. Like Guam was a very relaxed childhood. It was very peaceful and serene, and you don't appreciate it until you're an adult and you look back and you're like, oh, I was very, very blessed and lucky. I paddled was my sport in high school, and I rode in the back of really small Toyota pickup trucks, which is really dangerous. Don't get me wrong. With like 7 of my friends going from paddling sessions like up north and then in the middle of the island. And I look back at those moments and I'm like, those made me really, really not afraid of life in general. And you mentioned it earlier, and I do want to touch on it. Of I'm a cliff jumper. I don't think twice. I don't sit down the nail salon. This is a great analogy. I jump off the cliff and I scale my way back up because I know I can get back to the top.
Yeah.
Wasn't the first business adventure? Probably will be Global Sprouts. Definitely will be Global Sprouts because I won't let that fail because I feel like it's something, I know it's something that we need.
Yeah.
And then what's after Global Sprouts? Who knows? But you have to scale the cliff. And this is how I explain it in the nail salon. I don't sit there and think about what 17 shades of red am I painting my nails. I choose a red and I move on with my life because the pondering and going back and forth of, is this the right red or is the
So much.
full red the better one? And I'm like, icy hot red. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. I can change it. I make a decision. I fully believe in my decision.
Yeah.
And then if I reflect on it and I realize it's not a good decision, what would you do? You would just go home and take the nail polish off, or you would go back and get a new color nail, like a different red. So I
Yeah.
don't sit and wait for a decision to come to me or to make a mistake. I'm like, I'm going to make my decision. I'm going to own it. I'm going to see if it works. And then I move on from there. And that's what every woman should do. We should feel more empowered to make a quick decision that we believe in instead of waiting around for someone to tell us, like, yes, that's the right decision to make. You have to make the right decision for you and own it. And that's your decision, and that's fine. And if it doesn't work out, who cares? Like, make another bad decision, make 1,700 of them.
Yeah.
And then you're going to find one that is a great decision. And that's what holds us back. And so that's one of my main things is don't worry about your nail color polish because it'll be fine.
That's so true, Whitney. For women who are watching this, man, what an encouragement you are. Your story is just filled with so much ambition and inspiration and wins and losses, but not real losses, just what you thought were losses. And then you find out, actually, that actually helped me. That's really great. So I know that there's a mom out there. She's watching you right now. And she's like, you know what? I know I have to rebuild. I'm tired. I don't want to rebuild. I know I want to rebuild, but I'm being very honest. I don't want to rebuild right now. What do you say to her to encourage her to persevere?
One decision at a time. When it comes down to that. I mean, we all find ourselves in ruts. There's times where I'm like, I can barely type out this email. And then it's like 50 emails. And you're like, oh my God, I should have just typed that one email out.
Yeah.
Make one decision and then reward yourself for that decision. Find the accolades. Tell yourself something incredibly inspiring. Yeah. Talk good about yourself. Rewire the way that you're thinking. My favorite thing to do is I cannot stand a busy inbox. My inbox has like 50 emails right now. That's why I'm like freshly thinking about it. And I will reply one email. And then I'm like, you know what? I've been craving a root beer. I'm going to go drink me a root beer today. And so I'll like find little things or take a break and it's fine. My secret personally is I schedule these homeschool expos and then I leave my husband and child at home. And then I like go to homeschool expos and like lay in bed at 6 p.m. with to-go food and just eat in bed and enjoy the rest of my night. Staycation. Ask for your community. That's why community is so important. I have a group of probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 mom friends that if I'm like, I just need to take my kid. Just take her so I can lay in bed and just not have any responsibility. Yeah. That's super helpful as well. I think we don't give ourselves enough of a mental break. And it's really tough to explain, but I felt it for a long time until I hired help on to just like family management of we had 2 different nannies because it's important to me to have a Spanish speaking one. Mm-hmm. So I'm scheduling both nannies. I'm scheduling the meals, the lunches, the dinners, the activities, and it just got very overwhelming. I'm spending 5 hours probably on the weekends figuring out new activities, where is Slater, my daughter, going every like day? What does that look like? And so I had to get help. I was like, I'm going to drive myself into a hole if I don't feel empowered to do what makes me happy. And scheduling my kids stuff does not make me happy. I'm
Yeah.
not that type of person. I enjoy my quality time with her. I also enjoy my quality time away from her because that fills my cup up, and that's how I can be more present as a mom. So one thing at a time for sure, and reward yourself if it's a new lip gloss or new pair of shoes, going outside, getting some fresh air, any of that. Find what you connect with yourself.
Yeah.
Really, having the fitness studio and really grounding myself in yoga and bar and spin and finding what makes me happy, whether that's I'm into Pilates right now and weightlifting. So getting out of the house to go do that and connecting with myself in a deeper way has been really, really helpful for that.
Love that. Man. Whitney, your story is it's full of grace, it's full of grit, it's full of creativity. So I want to first say thank you for your honesty and transparency and just for being you and sharing your voice with us today. I know that women everywhere needed to hear your story. Um, we need to hear that in other women. We see so many women walking around and we're like, she's got a perfect life. No, she doesn't. Nobody does. Nobody does. So thank you for sharing your story with us. And I want to end with some fun. Are you ready for this? Okay. It's time for something I call hot mic. It's 15 quick rapid fire questions. And the only rule that I have is you cannot think. This is the first thing that comes to your brain. Spit it out.
Okay.
You got it? Okay. Here we go. Number 1, favorite beach in the world.
Madeira Beach.
Go to road trip snack.
Honeycombs.
Ooh. A word that your toddler says that melts you.
Hola.
Oh, sweet girl. One travel destination that's still on your dream list.
The Seychelles Islands.
Yeah. Best thing about growing up, CHamoru.
Oh, the food.
Favorite CHamoru food.
Bread, rice, and fenadeni.
Ooh. Cultural tradition that you hope your kids will never forget.
Coconut weaving. Every part of the coconut tree you can use. So on Guam, we did a bunch of like coconut activities, and we make bowls and plates and mats, and it's really, really cool that you can use every part of the tree.
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's really great. Diaper bag item that you never leave the house without.
I don't use a diaper bag. I only ever had diapers and wipes in my purse because I didn't like hauling stuff around.
I was going to say wipes. My kids are 4 and 6. We still use wipes everywhere.
They're so nice to have. So I guess diapers and wipes, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. A book that you keep coming back to.
Diary of a CEO.
I've read that. If Global Sprouts had a theme song, what would it be?
Globy, globy, gotta get your globy.
That's so cute. Most used emoji in your group chat.
The laughy emoji.
Yeah, with the tears here.
Yep.
Yeah. Favorite lesson that you learned from your Bar by the Bay community?
Oh. To just be you.
Just be you.
People will support you.
Yeah. What is your superpower, your hidden superpower as a mom?
Oh, I don't want to say this one lightly. I don't care about a lot of things. I just let her be a kid. I don't get caught up in the day-to-day, like, oh my gosh, she's falling. I just kind of let her explore, and she'll figure it out. If it hurts, then she won't do it again. And it's very nonchalant and chill.
Love it. Parenting hack that deserves an award.
A Global Sprouts box.
Hey, come on. One thing you hope every child who opens a Global Sprouts box will feel.
Love and compassion.
Last one. What is something that God whispered to you during your hardest season of life?
Keep going. You can do this.
He was right.
He
Look at
was.
you. Look at you now. Come on. Thank you so much, Whitney. Thank you so much for showing us what it means to rebuild with purpose. And thank you so much for showing us how to lead with empathy, creativity, and conviction. I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it was definitely an honor. And so for everybody watching, if today's episode, if it gave you goosebumps like it did me, or if you hope, or you just want to, I don't know, breathe a little bit deeper, take a deep breath, and you want to know how to do that, share this with somebody. Tag somebody, repost this to a mom, a teacher, a builder, somebody who needs to remember that your mess actually can become beautiful. And so, Whitney, before we go, I do want to give you the opportunity to tell people where can they find you, tell them where they can follow and how they can follow Global Sprouts and just be a part of the journey.
Sorry. Yeah. So I'm on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, my username on there is Wit from Guam. I'm more than happy to connect with anyone and build bridges. And if you're starting a business and need some inspo, I think I have a lot of marketing experience and opportunities to connect with women that need connections. I don't believe in the whole pay me to be a business coach type of thing. I'm a woman of many connections, and I'm a woman that will share them with you. So please connect with me on LinkedIn and Instagram. I'm Wit from Guam. TikTok, everything for me is Wit from Guam because it's easy. Global Sprouts is globalsprouts.com. All of our handles are at Global Sprouts except Instagram. Instagram is Global Sprouts Box or Global Sprouts Box. So connect with me on any of those platforms. If you have any questions or you're excited for a country but you don't see it on our website, I would be more than happy to have that conversation with you.
I love that so much. You are a gem, and I'm so excited that I got a chance to meet you. I also want to say you are now officially a part of the Unmuted family. Welcome to the family.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much again for being here, Mama. And we're going to follow your journey, and you keep me posted, please. If I can help in any way, I'm here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for watching so much. I'm so appreciative. Until the next time, stay unmuted.
What you just heard wasn't just a story. It was a spark, a glimpse into the heart of a woman living for purpose, and a reminder that when one woman shares, another woman wakes up to what's possible. These aren't just conversations, they're catalysts. I'm your host, Anjali Marshall, and this is the Unmuted Podcast, where voices rise, stories connect, and purpose finds its volume. Until next time, friends, stay unmuted.